What up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the Corner Podcast. Kel Dansby here with the old man Andreas and Kel. You guys by now have heard the news. Shout out to everyone who reached out. Gonna go on a hiatus, indefinite hiatus, as the old man had put it. Just gonna figure stuff out, but we still have a couple of shows before then, including this one where we are recapping AEW All In that happened across the pond and talking about WWE Bash in Berlin, which is going on over there this weekend. So it's a perfect timing to do that. Maybe squeeze in some NXT because it was one hell of a slap on NXT.
Oh
NXT
yeah,
is cooking right now.
Jada
So,
Parker smacked the shit out of Roxanne Perez.
ooh, that slap is dope. So NXT is really can't mix. Granted, it's half of TNA at this point, but I like the merger of the brands so far. So that is really dope. Maybe we'll talk a little bit about that. Really, our format is wide ass open because we only got a couple more shows. We do whatever we want. That I'm just now not being sick, so I get this burst of energy. The old man is comfy in his crib. Shout out to his son who is quiet right now. That is my boy. He wanted to be on the mic for a second. Dre would not let him.
Nope.
It's Dre, I'm telling you, when we look back, I just got on this day. I believe it was 3 years ago, was the Jake Paul Tyron Woodley fight on this day.
Wait, which
And
one? The first or the second one?
it was the first one. Second one
Okay.
happened in December. He knocked him out.
Yeah. Okay. Second one happened. I didn't go. The first one I was at. All right.
Yeah. So we were at that one, saw the first one. That was on this day 3 years ago. And it was something like 8 years ago. There was us preparing for a Canelo fight. And we were in the fight shop 8 years ago on this date
Damn.
in the Planet Hollywood. So it was time is wild. Now we're 10 years past that. I don't even know what the hell we were doing 10 years ago, but you ain't have no gray in the beard.
No, no,
Now
I got
you're a new
old.
man. Now you're
Yeah.
taking portrait shots for ESPN.
Yeah. This podcast made me old.
Yeah, Marcus Vanderberg's in Vogue.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Malika Andrews' wedding. Yeah, that was yeah, fancy ass.
Yeah,
Fancy.
the reverse right back flowing up in the world. Everybody's doing something. Yeah, so it's crazy how much stuff has changed in these 10 years. And then looking through 5 years ago, we're getting ready. Oh, that's what it was. 5 years ago, live show in Chicago because we went and it was all out weekend in Chicago. And I got that on this day because I quit my job at the news station here in Vegas. And I worked at Channel 8, CBS. And I quit because I was like, yo, we got a live show and hadn't heard from ESPN yet. And I was just like, fuck it. I know I'm a finalist. I'll figure it out. And then they would call me 2 days before and say, yo, you got the job. Great, because I already quit my other one. Because we were going to Chicago and they wouldn't give me the time off. It's like, hey, we got a live show. Moxley caught staph infection and we were on the stage, baby. So that was 5 years ago. And that seems like it was yesterday.
Damn. Yeah, that was pre-COVID. That was pre-COVID. That was
Pre-COVID.
yeah, I think that pops up occasionally in my memories. I'm like, man, it's a good weekend. That was a good
That,
weekend in
that was
Chicago.
one hell of a panel. If we look back, all the wrestling with stereotypes like panels, we had a lineup.
We did.
And what they're doing now, we had some foresight
We did.
on
We did.
these because yeah, AEW was just getting rocking, just really ramping up.
It was new. That was their I think the first major one, right? After the one that they did with Cody and them. Like that was their
Yeah,
first major one.
it was the first one as an actual company. Like
Yep.
Tony Khan, everyone else, like, okay, we're going to get a TV deal. We have this, blah, blah. That was the first pay-per-view for AEW. Now we're talking about their second pay-per-view in London.
That's crazy. Yep. Time flies, man. Time flies. But it also tells you like it shows, I mean, AEW is still a baby. We're older than AEW in terms of this podcast.
Twice the age. We're
Yeah.
twice the age of AEW. Yeah, we started the podcast and Kevin Owens was He had just made his main roster debut.
Oh, against CJ Parker, who is Juice Robinson now.
No, no, not NXT. He was in
Oh,
NXT.
oh, he was
But
okay, okay.
him answering Cena's challenge
Oh, the U.S.
was
title.
when
Yeah,
when we started. And yeah, he just flipped on Sammy.
yeah,
So his debut could have been like two because he was like fast tracked.
yeah, yeah. He only spent like 7 months in NXT, if
Yeah.
that, because
So
he wrestled Sammy like 4 times.
yeah. So it was that long ago. Again, we say this all the time, but the New Day was new.
The New Day was, yeah, we did fucking rip them for being a church group, and
And
it
now
was so bad.
Kofi's trying to break my heart. Big E's moving into cribs.
Yeah, times have changed, man. Times have
We
changed.
grow. I look back and I was like, damn, I think E was like 27 back then. 27, 28.
I
In
think so.
hindsight, which to me, especially meeting him and talking to him all the time, he always just seemed like an old ass man. If anyone's met E, he's just an old ass man.
He acts like
From
one.
yeah, he don't change the wallet. It's of like rich mahogany leather.
Yeah.
The man does nothing all day but chill or relax. He is an old ass man, and to think he was young when we started is bananas. So yeah, man, it's a lot has happened in this time that we've been podcasting. So it's Facebook will always do that to you, and I was like, damn, like this has been like an important week for us throughout the podcast. It's always a busy week. This holiday week, either we got a fight. There was an Adrian Broner fight back in the day, I think, on his
Ugh.
Labor Day. Brings the black folks out. Uh, so there's always something going on in this day. So Facebook reminded me, like, man, these episodes are always fun. Now it's dominated by AEW because they were like, every year we're gonna do something. I don't think they announced next year in Texas is going, but did they announce a date for that? Did they say July?
Yeah, it's July.
So I don't know what's gonna be in AEW next year this week because they're
Shit,
not going back to
it
well
could
to
be all out.
London.
Yeah, because it could still be all out. No, I can't remember. I don't know. I guess we'll see. I mean, if they're doing that in July, they could do another pay-per-view Labor Day weekend, but
Yeah,
who
it's enough
knows?
time. They just all I know is they said they weren't going back to London again.
Well,
Next year, 2 years from now, they're going back.
yeah, 2 years from now they're going back, but yeah, next year they're in Texas. So
We'll see how
big
they.
moves.
Yeah, we'll see how the company continues to grow and change. Looking at this all-in card, I did not watch the first match in the pre-show. Not gonna lie, but it tells me that it was a 16-man tag team match. This is straight New Japan booking.
Oh, this shit was ridiculous. It was just motherfuckers just coming out, kept coming out, and I was like, who is this? Like, I guess they just had to get everybody on the show.
That's it. Private Party was here, which is cool to see him healthy again. I didn't even know they were healthy again.
Yeah,
Private Party was in this Dark Order. Um, shit, Jay Lethal, Singh, Anthony Ogogo, who's still getting a check, and
yeah.
Arya Davari, and they lost
It
to
was it
Kip
wasn't
Sabian and Rocky
it
Rocky Romero. Come on,
it was a lot, right? But the main spot was what was it? It was Leo Rush and Satnam Singh when Leo Rush was like hugging Satnam
yeah,
Singh's leg because he was so big and Leo so small. That was the only thing I remember from the match. Other than that, I was like, this is stupid. I can't watch this. It was sensory overload. 16-man tag match? 16? Yeah.
just cutting people a check at that point.
And the match was only 11 minutes long, so that like a person a minute. Not even that. So a person every like 40 seconds.
It's the hottest of hot tags.
That's crazy.
Just madness, mayhem. Your match of the night. I'm just going out there. Yeah, the hell with Meltzer ratings. The hell with what everybody else thinks. Willow Nightingale and Ishii versus Statlander and Stokely.
Hey, Stoke hit a spine buster.
Yo, Stoke came out in the Michael Jackson. Do
Remember
you
the
remember
time
the
shit?
time shit? he's he's a gem, yo. Like
Yeah,
I just,
dog, he's amazing. I mean, this whole match was all about Stokely. Obviously, the Stone Cold Pitbull Ishii's over here just beating the shit out of him, but he hit a spine buster and it popped the shit out of me. And remember the time gear. Like there were stakes in this match. I guess the stipulation for Willow versus Statlander is going to be determined at All Out based on this match.
yep. And Willow has chosen it.
Yeah, but I didn't care. I didn't. I just wanted to see Stokely and Ishii go at it. It's fun.
Willow chose a street fight, which is always odd as the baby face. It does
Yeah,
not lean in your favor to have no rules.
yeah. You're welcoming chaos. Like you're
Yes.
welcoming heel chaos. I've never understood that.
No, he has someone who will cheat for him, or she does. Statlander does, has someone who will cheat for her, and Willow is just by your damn self. But okay, but whatever works. And then a 10-man tag team match followed that. It was just the Von Erichs were there.
I didn't watch it. It was on the TV. I didn't watch it.
You didn't watch the ROH tag team champs, Sammy Guevara and Dustin Rhodes?
Come on, man. No, I didn't watch it. It's so ridiculous.
Versus the Undisputed Kingdom. It's a wrap for them.
Yes, it's a wrap. But who knows where Adam Cole is at now? Because they completely fumbled this. So
yeah, Roddy's a wrap. Like they didn't even put Roddy next to him.
No, I mean Roddy looked good in the gauntlet match we'll talk about later. Like Roddy's
Yeah.
a really good wrestler. He'll be fine. But this Undisputed Kingdom stuff, stupid. Wardlow, MIA. Put him on the milk carton. We ain't seen him since. We have no idea what happened to Wardlow.
I forgot he was in the faction.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a wrap. And then now we get to the opening of the pay-per-view. 4-way London ladder match for the trios championships. It had to kind of be 20 minutes because there's a lot of fucking teams in this.
Yeah.
I was very wrong about the winners.
Me too.
And I still don't understand this. Because somehow Pac is now in Blackpool Combat Club and they just invited the bastard in. And I was like, all right. And then Moxley somehow just forgot he was in it and he's starting a different faction.
Well,
so fast forward to AEW.
Yeah, we don't know
like
exactly
Dynamite.
what Moxley is doing right now. Like we don't have a clue. So it's like
He has Marina.
Right.
Somehow.
He has Marina Shafir, which if this is Moxley booking this, I get it because Moxley's always been partial to MMA fighters. I don't know what this all is, and we'll see. It's intriguing.
Isn't that what Blackpool Combat Club was supposed to be? Like a bunch of people who like shoot, fight.
Yeah, but I mean the promo with Shivani saying this isn't your company anymore is interesting because where what does he mean by yours? Right? It doesn't mean Shivani. No. Does he mean the elite? Is he going after the elite? Who is he talking about? We don't know.
Dre, the chuckles, I shall chuckle. If they try to sports entertain and bring in Shane McMahon.
Yeah, I've seen people post that.
I'm telling you,
I can't see them do
it. Better be next week because we got to fire this shit up. Like we got to have one more. The chuckles, I will chuckle. If people in AEW champion Shane O'Mac, last time he blew out, he did the classic Vince McMahon and blew out the hammy in the ring. Before then, he was kicked out of the company for booking the worst Royal Rumble ever and failing at whatever Raw Underground was.
All bad.
So a Raw Underground 2.0 faction? No. And somehow people would love it.
Yeah, I don't think they're gonna go that route. But back to the 6-man 9, 12. How many fucking people?
It's 12. It's 4 trios. Right.
So Pac winning, like them winning, wasn't on my bingo card. I'm fine with it because I think that Wheeler, Claudio, and Pac is like that's a good team. It's just interesting that they've added him. And then at the end of Dynamite, Pac is going after Ospreay, which a sneak attack Poison Rana is nuts. Like just to start, like that's absolutely batshit. You just punch somebody in the head. He hit him with a Poison Rana.
I like the creativity.
And it was a good old bait and switch too, because you thought Ospreay is confronting Ricochet and we're gonna do this, and people are like, already? They're about to no, Pac is gonna get involved. And Ricochet and Ospreay might be cool for a while before they feud, but Pac with a Poison Rana, that was nuts.
Maybe that'll be like the crew for the trios feud. Maybe we get Ospreay, Ricochet, and Fletcher.
That is a fucking no. I don't know. I'm still trying to figure out what the Don Callis family's in relation with Ospreay and Kyle Fletcher is now. Like I don't know what's going on with any of that.
But it wasn't like beef between Ricochet and Kyle Fletcher. It was just like we gotta have a match.
It was a match. So I mean, I'm here for the match. That's a straight up PWG fucking batshit crazy wrestling match. So I'm here for it if that's what they end up doing. But this is the 6-man, those guys winning. All right, fine with it.
If that's the match in Chicago, that's gonna be fucking nuts.
Yeah.
Mariah May versus timeless Tony Storm.
Boy, this is the best women's match they've ever had. From build to execution to the
You
title
could
switch,
100%.
this was the best women's match, women's feud that they've ever done. It was so fucking good. And Mariah May is excellent. Like
Yeah.
she's phenomenal. Tony didn't need to win. Putting over Mariah is perfect. The way it ended was perfect. This match was perfect. Completely counter to the other women's match on this card.
Okay. So when I'm watching this match, it's like, this match is good. Like, the match is cool. It's one of Tony's best matches.
Yeah.
Because I was unfortunately watching, be like, please just don't fuck up the ending. Don't fuck up the ending. Like, there's always some catastrophically going wrong at the end of Tony's matches where it just whacks it out. And then I was like, no, went over smooth. Everything was right. They, like you said, they did well. The title switch makes sense. Mariah, even though it seems like she just got into the company, she leapfrogged a lot of people, felt right. It felt like, oh, it's not like they're rushing her. Like, she's really good. And, it makes story sense. Strap the rocket to her. She's ready. So I thought that was good. And we'll talk about the other women's match in a little while. Now I look at this match and be like, give it all the stars. Perfection. Because I saw what happened later. And it's one of those things where revisionist history is like, yeah, it shows how far the roster had to go. Because the other match was still kind of, it was a perfect dichotomy of, you're bringing in new, fresh talent who's a lot better in the women's division. And the other match was that new talent working with someone who was the best from the original women's division. And you realize this is why the women's division wasn't that good. It's like, shit.
Yep.
So you saw two people of the new era of this women's division crush it. And then you're looking like, a lot of these women who were here from the jump are kind of going to get lost.
Yeah. And one thing we didn't talk about is like the return of Jamie Hayter on the pre-show as well.
Yes.
Which drew a huge pop from the crowd. And clearly she's feuding with Saraya. They had, they've got long-standing beef, but good. Bring Jamie Hayter back. We'll talk about the Britt Baker Mercedes match more detail as we go down this card. But to your point, it's like you can see the stark contrast between like a Mariah May and Tony Storm and Jamie Hayter and like the universe circling around Britt Baker for so long. You see, like, I don't want to say she is the problem, but there was a stopgap there preventing other talent from shining.
Yeah. Like, they needed her at that time. But
they did, but it's we'll put a pin on it. We'll talk about it when we get to the match.
There's feelings there. Yeah. And then Hook defeats Chris Jericho.
We didn't need this match. Look, the absurdity of three dudes not being able to get it done against Hook is absolutely nuts, right? It's ridiculous because all you guys should get fired.
Especially when one guy is Big Bill.
Right. Like, y'all can't beat Hook. I did pop for Taz helping his son out. I did pop for that. That was cool. But other than that, fuck this match. Like, Jericho, the learning tree, like, he's trying to get this shit over. Brian Keith is just kind of here. Big Bill just needs something to do. I just didn't need this match on the pay-per-view. I didn't need it.
This was a Rampage match. Yeah, not even a Dynamite match.
As long as Chris Jericho's here, he's going to find his way on a pay-per-view.
Yeah, and fucking entrances, like...
Yeah, the entrance is whack. Like, I was like, this is stupid.
Jericho must pose. He's at that point in his career. Jericho must pose. And then we had three-way tag team match for the World Tag Team Championships. There's a ton of people on this fucking card. Ton of multi-people matches. But we had the Young Bucks versus FTR versus the Acclaimed. The match wasn't bad to me.
No, it wasn't.
I thought the match was cool.
You want to know why it wasn't bad? Because it was only 12 minutes long.
Sure. They didn't need any more. A lot.
They did.
Great. It furthered nothing.
No.
In the grand scheme of like a narrative, this match did nothing.
No.
But it was a good wrestling match.
Yeah, it was a good match. Grizzly Young Veteran showed up afterwards and beat up FTR, and then on Dynamite, they was like, hey, we ain't with the Elite either. We fuck you guys up too. We just needed new feuds. We need new feuds. Like, all this triangle between FTR and the Acclaim, like, I don't care. I just, like, the match was fine. And the Young Bucks are such a good tag team. They showed spots in this match where like, oh yeah, they are one of the best tag teams in the world, but they just need better feuds.
Yeah, new feuds,
Yeah,
new and fresh feuds. So I guess
100%.
grizzled young veterans are that. But again, if that's the new feud, it's like, hey, we have this new shiny tag team title picture. Then what? Like, we kind of want to build them up a little bit more. I don't know.
Yeah, they
The
got to figure
tag
it out.
division is still a little weird. And then Christian Cage versus Kyle O'Reilly. Or excuse me, that's the finish to the Casino Gauntlet match.
This was the most perfectly booked gauntlet match I have ever seen.
There's a lot of fucking people in this match.
Dude, it was the return of Nigel McGuinness, the Zack Sabre Jr. showing up, obviously Ricochet. Hangman not winning was a surprise to me, but
Yeah.
Hangman has nailed this fucking paranoid, chaotic cowboy shit. Like it is great. But this match, everybody got their shit in, right? And it didn't go too long, even though it was 26 minutes. But like Christian Cage winning the way that he did, like Luchasaurus, everybody thought once again he's gonna turn on him. No, he's not.
Yeah.
Um, but as soon as Nigel came out, the first thing I said, and I said on Twitter was, "Well, Danielson ain't retiring because that Nigel match has to happen now.
Yeah. I mean,
It
that'd be a
has to.
fun match.
It has
Fun
to. They had
match.
so many great matches in Ring of Honor. It has to. Nigel and Danielson one more time. It has to.
Or they got a
But
tag or something. Because
no,
they'll try
fucking
to
Nigel
kill each
hates him.
other. They'll try to kill each other if they go one on one. And it's like, Nigel, you just got back. Like, we
He don't
can't be out
care.
here giving a 30-minute wrestling match.
Bro, he's here for one reason to wrestle Danielson. Like the Danielson retirement tour is on right now, and he has to wrestle Danielson probably for that title at some. I don't even know if it'd be a pay per view, but I think
They have enough little
Nigel
spot joints. Like the New York joint
they'll do
would be
something.
dope.
They will absolutely do something. But I thought I like everything about this match was fun and perfect. And gauntlet matches can be a chore sometimes, but even Zack Sabre Jr. had his great spots. Orange Cassidy, I enjoyed the shit out of this match. I thought this was perfectly booked.
It's just so long. There's a lot of people. Like I already saw a lot of people, and this was a lot of fucking people to get into this. But no, it was fun. Like you said, they had fun spots. If I would have watched it live, honestly, I think I would have been like a little bit more hyped for it. I watched AEW in segments afterwards.
Yeah.
So it was one of those where I was just caught it. I was like, all right, so it was a long fucking match. Like it's cool, but it's long. But I probably would have popped with everyone else, lost my shit for Nigel. And of course, I wanted to see Ricochet and everyone come out. So again, it wasn't bad. Christian Cage winning, okay.
I mean,
Like,
look, Cage and Danielson.
but he's lost a lot of, he's been great, but he's lost these bigger feuds. And then somehow he gets another title shot.
He's Christian Cage, man. He's one of the best
just,
heels in the company. And
just,
he gets to go on his bad dad shit. He's gonna fucking crush Danielson for being a shitty dad.
oh my God. Everyone's crushing Danielson for being a dad currently, I guess.
Yeah.
Danielson, Paul Birdie was crying.
Yeah. Yeah.
We'll get to that one. And then Osprey versus MJF.
I mean, was there any doubt that this was going to be a bad match, like a good match? There was no doubt.
Really good match.
Uh,
The Meltzer ratings were funny for this card because again, it's one man's opinion. But I think he gave 3 5-star plus matches. This was 6.5.
no,
Where it's just like,
this was
I
not
was
a
like,
6.5 star
it's
match.
like, bro, like at this point, just say Will Ospreay's God, and
I
like
mean, look, man, Will
he's
Ospreay
really fucking good.
he's the best wrestler on the planet, right?
Yes,
Like bar none. I don't care what anybody says. When it comes to Will Ospreay matches, you just might as well start off at 5 and then work your way up because he doesn't give you a bad match.
but is he the
How
best wrestler ever? Because this is the level of star rating clout, and again, it's one man's opinion, but it's the level of star rating clout that he is now given. Is that every time out you start 5 plus, so he's the greatest wrestler ever because Danielson doesn't have this, Sean doesn't have this, Brett doesn't have this. The same guy has judged all their scales. Kurt doesn't have one. Jericho, I think, might have one. Benoit had one. Like, there's not a lot of people on this list that he's almost at the point where New Japan excluded, you know, for those guys, but if they're in AEW, it then counts. You add all those 5-star matches together, probably post 95. I'm not sure they equal Osprey's number of 5-star matches.
I'll say this in terms of in ring, bell to bell, the talent he's worked against and the matches that he's delivered, yeah, he's the best wrestler on the planet. Like
Ever. He's the best wrestler on the
yes,
planet right now.
yes, like bell to bell, we've never like he's the evolution of pro wrestling, right? Because he went from just the aerial assassin to he can just work the perfect match.
That's fair. LeBron's the evolution of basketball. Is he the greatest ever?
No,
All
because
right, then.
that's different.
No, he's the number one scorer of all time. He
No, no,
passes
no,
like
no, no, no,
magic.
no, no,
He is
no,
a
no.
great team player.
This is not the
It's the
same thing.
exact same thing.
No, it's not. Michael Jordan won 6 titles, 6 in a row
Okay.
in the NBA Finals.
Yeah.
Unless somebody's going, that's a
No,
whole different.
that would be the point for a Bret Hart or Shawn Michaels, is that they did it and won championships at a higher level and at a higher clip. Osprey is not that.
No, but
Osprey
I'm
had a
saying
very brief window of carrying the company.
you can't compare basketball to pro wrestling because we're talking about bell to bell. That's all we're talking about. The greatest
That's it.
The
You can do that on the
greatest
court.
the greatest wrestler, like
Yeah.
if you want to talk about the greatest total package wrestler of all time, that's a different conversation. I'm talking about just what happens between the bells. We've never seen anything like Osprey. We haven't. But
I'm just saying, if he's evolution, it's sounding very Braun like.
no,
And
he
you
is the
refuse to
evolution of
say,
pro wrestling.
cool. You
But
refuse to say Braun is.
there's no way Braun is better than Jordan.
All right.
There's no way.
And people would argue that's all I'm asking. Because it's just like, even with him being the evolution, people they get faster, they can jump higher, they can do
Sure.
wilder shit, move sets, crossovers, all that shit change in the NBA.
Sure.
But again, you then put the eye test and say, well, he's still not better. You should be able to do that in pro wrestling. You should look and be like, he can have a million 5-star matches because he's doing shit we've never seen before, but he's still not Danielson.
He's not Danielson. But I'm saying between the bells, he's the best wrestler, right? Like between when the match starts, if you take it doesn't mean that he's a better total wrestler. It means what happens between those bells, nobody can do it. That doesn't mean he's better. He's not a better wrestler than right now than Kurt Angle, because Kurt Angle was more than just a wrestler in the ring. Right?
That's fair. I'm just talking bell to bell in the ring. Moves weren't created yet. So do you hold that against someone like Danielson?
I'm not holding. No, I don't hold it against Danielson. But I'm saying if you take, because Osprey he's different. Like Osprey, Kenny Omega, and Okada have kind of reshaped what a wrestling match looks like.
Yes.
Right. And this doesn't, like, Bret Hart's the best technical wrestler to ever live. And now Danielson is he's on my Mount Rushmore. Like, for me personally, because pro wrestling's so much more than just wrestling.
That's hard to argue.
But
against,
he's done it longer. Like, he is, like, Danielson's LeBron, right? Like, Danielson is, I've been here for years, right? He wasn't the biggest star in WWE, but he was a star.
He got close.
I mean, dude, nobody's touching Stone Cold Rock levels.
No, I just meant of his era.
Yeah, but but it took a while to get there, right?
Yeah.
Like he was knocked down the ladder a few times, like LeBron. Like LeBron didn't just win rings like off the bat. So Danielson was not just the evolution of, like, he is the stabilizing point of pro wrestling that bridges the gap between generations. If it wasn't for Danielson and Punk, we wouldn't have Ospreys.
Yeah.
Like wrestling for major pro. If we didn't have a Danielson and Punk, we wouldn't have AEW. In this very weird way, like, the independent wrestling style became mainstream because of those two guys.
Yeah, 100%.
Right? So now you have Osprey, which is the evolution of that. And if you can point to me, like, and I love Bret. I love Bret Hart. You guys know he's my favorite wrestler. But what Osprey does between the bells, like Bret versus Owen was more than just a match, right? At WrestleMania 10.
Yeah, it was storytelling.
You're wrestling your brother. Like, Osprey's not that storyteller, but in terms of, like, the athleticism and what he does in the ring, there's nobody that can compare to him in that.
Yeah.
But storytelling is a whole different category. It's like saying that Steph Curry is a better point guard than Magic Johnson when he's not.
Yeah.
Right? Like Magic Johnson's
Just
dropping
be like he's a
dimes.
better shooter. Like the
Yeah,
move set is different. Like he
yeah,
can just do
it's
shit.
different.
Yeah, but he's not the general of it, like Magic.
No,
Yeah.
like Osprey, like this my Osprey MGF match. Like Osprey finds ways to work with everybody different.
Yeah.
It's weird. Like he goes out there and
And he can tell stories.
he
It's
can't.
just
No,
there's
he absolutely can.
levels.
He
Right.
hasn't. What Osprey hasn't had yet is what I just mentioned. He hasn't had the Brett versus Owen feud, right? He hasn't had
Him
Punk versus
Omega
Joe.
is the only thing close.
It's close, but it was like Rock and Stone Cold, like those two, like that feud in and out of the ring, like it broke pro wrestling. I always
Yeah.
said like when Rock and Austin wrestled and Austin turned heel, that was like the season finale of pro wrestling.
Yeah.
And then shit just changed. Osprey hasn't had a feud like that yet. Not to say that he can't or he won't, but he hasn't. Even like I mentioned, Punk versus Joe or Punk what he did with John Cena, like those were just whole another levels of pro wrestling.
What stories? 20 years is a long fucking time. It's hard to project 20. But we've done this podcast for 10. So let's go with 10 as a barometer.
Sure.
What non-WWE stories you think will last 10? Just from like the past like 5 years, because AEW has been around 5 years. If you'd be like, yo, it's gonna be a staple 10 years from now. Like with hardcore as casual, casual as AEW allows, right? It doesn't have to be WWE level, but when I think about it, I think about people talking about Kurt Angle, Samoa Joe from TNA.
Yeah.
That's not super casual, but that's a story for TNA that people talk about to this day when you mention TNA. Yeah. Joe Punk, ROH.
Yep.
We have stories people talk about forever. You just mentioned Danielson has his and in ROH and it's like him and Nigel. That's a feud and a story where like the story's so good, you're like, fuck it, they gotta wrestle now. And it's 20 years since then.
Yep.
AEW have one you think is making it 10? To me, they have one.
I mean, I think we're getting really close with Swerve and Hangman.
That is my one.
Like that feud has it's been exceptional.
Yeah.
Like
it's Owens, it's Steen Generico.
Yeah, like that feud and the way that those two have handled it in the promo on Dynamite, Swerve once again just knocked it out of the park. And again, I got to give Hangman all this credit because the wild eyes cowboy, like I'm obsessed with you look, he just looks disheveled and he's only obsessed with one thing. It makes that feud so much better. I do think like Omega and Osprey spread across multiple companies.
Okay.
In a way, so it's up there. I don't know how we'll look at it, but I think MJF and Punk's fucking dog collar match was one of those ones. I just don't know if we'll still be talking about it. The Bucks and FTR was a great tag feud, but I don't know if we talk about it like we would other.
They just run it too much, where it's just like it didn't have that like year-long build.
Yeah,
really.
I mean, MJF and Jericho. There hasn't been.
Oh, that's a good one.
Like MJF and Jericho is really good. That might be one that's defining, but it's just in terms of the violence, the storytelling, like tapping into uncharted waters, like Swerve breaking into Hangman's house is like a moment, right? Yeah. And then the match happening, drinking the blood, stapling the kid's picture to your face. It defined what AEW was in terms of feuds. And Hangman's a pillar of AEW. They talk about these 4 pillars, but Hangman's a pillar. Like Hangman wasn't that guy. Like I think people forget when AEW started, Hangman was a part of the elite, but he wasn't that guy. Omega was that guy. He got
there and they were like, we're going to make this guy. He was so much that guy that they were like, we're going to give you the belt before Omega.
Yeah, like he was one of the guys, but it was like AEW was Jericho, Cody, and the Bucks really. Yeah. Hangman was like, all right, cool. That's fine. He wasn't that guy. He's become that guy. Like he's as reliable to deliver as Moxley now. Like Moxley has been like, hey man, Somebody's hurt, need somebody to get the title, give it to John Moxley. He'll be good with the title. He always is.
And I feel like I'm missing a Moxley feud that probably will last 10 years.
Um,
The
it,
the
there's a
him and
few.
Jericho one only got fucked up because of the botched pyro.
Well, yeah, because remember the Kingston aspect of that
Yeah,
was great.
the Kingston, and then it led to like um the joint we saw. The what is that? In Vegas, where they go through
Oh,
the
Anarchy in
whole
the Arena.
Anarchy Arena and Kingston trying to set everyone on fire. Like it led to that. But yeah, the botched pyro is the only bad part of that feud. But
Yeah,
Eddie like coming and saving him and every like that was a really good fucking feud.
I mean Moxley and Omega had a great feud when Omega ended up turning heel with Callis and getting the title off him.
I like that. I like that Omega run too. It's just, yeah, I don't know what lasts 10 years from here. Like, and that's to me just AEW's problem. It's and people are like, oh, it's in the moment. How do you know? Like, sometimes you know. Like, you could look at the Bloodline feud, and that shit just happened 3 years ago. The first iteration that closed the chapter where Cody winning and say, this is gonna be talked about 10 years from now, 20 years from now. Like, that's not going anywhere.
Right.
Arguably, I could say Dom, Rhea, the mommy story angle will probably last 10 years. In terms of people look back at it and be like, yo, remember when, Dirty Dom got arrested and these entrances and like, there's so many parts of that. That's probably going to last 10 years.
Yeah, I mean, possibly there's AEW. The reason why they don't have the feuds on the level of WWE is because they don't do as good at TV when it comes to weekly television, right? Like
they just need to give stuff more time. I think they could. It's just they switch storylines every
well, that's
two
what I'm
months,
saying.
3 months.
They're not good at TV. They're very New Japan, right? Like the greatest New Japan feud is Okada Tanahashi. Did we ever watch a weekly television with any of them? No, we didn't give a shit.
No, but they gave that shit like 3 years for it.
Yeah,
Like
but what I'm saying is,
of
if
even watching, it was like 3 years deep. Same thing with Omega trying to get the title off of Okada. They gave that like 2 years.
I know, but my point is, we weren't programmed to watch weekly television.
No.
So we couldn't really judge the feud on weekly television. We only judged it off of pay-per-views.
Yeah.
If you took all the weekly television away, you just judged it off of pay-per-views. That's what AEW is. It's the same thing.
Yeah, but New Japan wasn't flipping. Kenny and Okada, remember, Kenny loses to Okada. Then Okada has to defend it against somebody else, obviously, the next pay-per-view. But by the time you hit Dominion, we get Kenny Okada 2. Kenny fails again. Then you get to going through the G1, and Kenny has to earn a title shot again. And then you get like heel Okada and Kenny, and then they get like maybe a triple, a tag team match, or 3-team versus 3-team match. And then you get back to Wrestle Kingdom. We're like, okay, cool. But they feuded at like every pay-per-view throughout, just in very unique fashion. AEW doesn't even do that, Swerve aside. And Hangman aside, where it's like, yo, let's stretch this out over, and they can side quest and come back, but we're going to stretch this out over 16 months, 18 months.
Yeah, because they have television. They have to service television. They are trying to find the balance between what should be television worthy and what should be for the pay-per-view, because all of us that watch New Japan, none of us watch weekly television. None of us. We never watched a single show. Maybe New Year's Dash was the only thing that we ever watched.
Yeah.
So we only judged it off the pay-per-view, and New Japan knew that. They knew their American audience didn't give a fuck about a weekly television. So they told the stories on TV and pay-per-view, I mean. Whereas AEW, our audience in America is programmed to watch weekly television. So we judge feuds off of what we see on weekly television. So they have to spin a few bullets on weekly to get to a pay-per-view, and it might hurt the feud. I'm certain New Japan's weekly television had Omega and Okada in multi-man tag matches like every week. And if we watched that, we'd have been like, oh, this ain't no good. I'm so sick of these multi-man tag matches. But that's not how we operated. We only watched those pay-per-view events in New Japan. So it's a little bit different. But all I say, going back to this, Ospreay and MJF delivered. MJF, this MAGA gimmick is hilarious to me.
He's now denounced his American citizenship.
Which is even more funny because he's like, fuck you guys. Like, everything that MJF does is like there's a few missteps here and there, but god damn, the guy is so good.
Yeah,
And this match just delivered, and Osprey winning and saying, I don't want that American title, give me the other one back. That was great. Now he's got a title. Just curious how they play this now, because as MJF stated on Dynamite, it's like, you haven't won the big one yet. That
yeah,
title's cool. When you gonna win the big one? And I wonder if he has to beat Danielson. Like, we're gonna talk about Dan, because Danielson said when he loses the title, it's over. His career ends. He's on that Ric Flair thing now.
yeah, yeah. The
When I
next
when I
match
get
is the last match.
Yep, when the next match I lose is my last match. And we got to do the rematch with Osprey and Danielson at some point, I would think, but I don't know. Now, the other issue is, as we mentioned last week, it was like, oh, Swerve will get the title back. Swerve ain't getting that title right back.
No, no, no. It's moving on,
Yeah, he's gonna move on to Hangman, but we don't know where they're gonna go from there.
which
But
is okay because he left this looking like $1,000,000.
yeah, no, I mean he looked tremendous in this match.
And he signed the new deal, cash out. Like,
Yeah, we'll get there in a minute. But MJF and Osprey wasn't the best match of the night, because I give that to Swerve and Danielson, but it was up there. Like this was really good. And then you go from that to Mercedes Moné versus Britt Baker.
You know who I'm blaming, Dre?
Britt Baker. It's Britt Baker.
Britt Baker. Yo, some of those sequences, and I think it started the Dynamite before this. I think it was Britt Baker versus Saraya,
Yeah.
and they hit spots that looked like really clunky, and it went viral, and it was like, it's a little weird. And people were like, no, it's just they're paying homage to old English style wrestling. And then people showed the Bailey and Becky Lynch clip of them doing the exact same spot and it looking flawless. And I was like, this is how it's supposed to look. So then I was like, all right, it's a little weird. And then we get Britt into this match, and it's like, oh, I understand she had a lot of health issues. She's been on the shelf. She's just working her way back, and they throw her right into this feud, which is
giving
tough.
her no passes. I'm not giving her any passes.
I mean, Rust is real.
Rust is real, but I'm not giving her any passes.
It was rough to watch.
I'm not giving her any passes because I think everybody forgot Britt Baker was never that good to begin with. She's a serviceable talent. She's not a bad wrestler.
Yeah.
But she's not that good. There are levels to this. And keeping up with Mercedes is difficult, right? Because she's all over the place. She's fast. She's small. She throws her weight into everything. I don't know who the agent was for this match, but they were booking Mercedes like a heavy. Like the backbreaker off the top spot was weird to me. It's not, this is a small heel doing power moves on a babyface, and the babyface not being a babyface in peril was a problem to me. Yeah. Britt Baker was a terrible babyface in this match. She didn't make you feel for her when Mercedes was getting her shit in, right? Like good baby faces, they play to the crowd when they're in pain, right? Like
Hulk Hogan, you a hope spot.
Yeah, fuck Hulk Hogan. But let's be honest, like Hulk was great at this shit.
Yeah,
right. Like he look at the crowd and the crowd would like feed it. Britt did nothing. She did nothing. It's like she forgot she was a babyface in this match. And the match, everything Mercedes did was strange because she's not bigger than Britt, and Britt's selling it like it felt like at times Britt was like sandbagging her too. Like there was like weird spots in this match where it felt like Britt was supposed to go one way and then she would like lean her weight into Mercedes.
Yeah.
And then it was a very strangely booked match.
They had to reset, and then stuff was Britt's too much of a veteran for it to be that slow and clunky. It was kind of like she was like just purposely being slow, and Mercedes is just fucking dragging her carcass into the next spot.
This match wasn't good, man. It wasn't good, and it's Britt. I blame Britt Baker. I'm not blaming Mercedes. In ring, you can say anything you want about Mercedes promos. Mercedes is good in the ring.
Yeah.
She's really good, which is, again, I need to figure out how the age. She's really good when she's getting tossed around and selling shit and then throwing her body into everything going the other way.
Yeah.
Right? She's really good at that. She is not like, again, she's not a backbreaker off the top turnbuckle type of woman. Like it just, and Britt's bigger than her. So it was a weird spot to do in the match. I did this wasn't good at
And
all.
I don't know how this works. Because that is just honest. But this match went 17, 18 minutes.
Yeah.
When you know shit is just like kind of off and clunky and like a little weird, I I was always of the assumption where like a ref has an earpiece and someone in back you be like, yo, let's just go home.
Yeah,
Like
but you got to fill that time elsewhere.
tell him to
So
wrap it. The next two matches,
I
you'll
know, but
you'll you'll figure it out.
there is like to go
Sometimes you
home.
can't let them die out there.
I mean, look, man, that match probably might have been booked longer than it was. We don't know. Maybe they did cut it short.
Dre, the
Like,
next match was 10 minutes and it was a coffin stipulation match. They could have given time.
look, I agree. This was just a bad match. It's a bad match, and I think it was one of. I'm just assuming if you're in Gorilla watching this match, you're just hoping it gets better.
Yeah.
You're like,
You're
oh,
giving Mercedes kind of and them the benefit of the doubt, like, yo, it's gonna hit another gear. Maybe they'll
yeah.
pick it up.
And you're probably watching it with rose tinted goggles on as well because you're like, this isn't that bad. And somebody's like, no, bro, this is fucking bad.
Once I hit the
Right?
10-minute mark, I'd be like, yo, let's bring this shit home.
And
The finisher is fucking whack.
It don't hit. There is no impact on the finisher.
Because she's so small. It looks like it hurts her.
Yeah, it's like, I'm gonna throw you. And it's like, and you just hit the mat. It's like, dink. And it's like, oh, that's it. I tell you, man, you got to go from that transition to the bank statement. Like, hold the arm, roll over it, and then hit her with the bank. I don't understand.
How is she going to hit that on Camille?
She can't.
She can't.
Like, they got a lot of work to do. But yeah, the difference between Toni Storm and Mariah May is like you have two young women, because Toni's young. People forget how young Toni is. Even though she's a veteran, she's young. But they both came from Stardom, and they both fucking know how to work. Britt isn't on that level in terms of in ring.
Yeah.
She's not Mariah May. She's not Toni Storm. She's not Jamie Hayter, who's actually gotten so much better. It's not like she was bad to begin with, but she surpassed Britt Baker. Everybody has.
Yeah.
Britt's not that good.
But she can tell what hell of a story. And this is somewhere where the feud was like, you could have leaned story.
She needs help telling a story, though. When has she told a story on her own?
No, it takes two to tango.
I know, but like, when is she like really carrying?
But like,
what's her? I
remember her and Thunder Rosa.
I give Thunder a lot of credit for that feud.
Sure,
Thunder kind of made her.
Sure.
Who made her before that?
It was
Swole.
Swole beat her ass up and down the dentist office.
Swole made her
because she was in a wheelchair.
Yeah,
and they carried the feud for like 3 months. But even when they had their match, it was like cool. They did callbacks to that and all it. Like they should have leaned into, again, you were like, who's the agent on this? They should have leaned into more storytelling aspects instead of, yo, I want the New Japan flippity dippity, you just train with Amazing Red style of Mercedes Moné. Like, that's cool. And we know you can do that. You've done that a lot since coming here, but this isn't the opponent for that. We need that NXT right to the WWE main roster Sasha Banks. Just give me some real good storytelling, some facial expressions, some, just not rest holds, but give me some grappling. Tell that story with emotion instead of, yo, I need this high spot.
Yeah, no, this was a bad feud from the beginning. The day I saw those two in the ring, I was like, Britt Baker's not a babyface. That's the first thing I said. Yeah. She's not a babyface.
You did say
and even though the crowd was behind her because she had just came back, she has never been a good babyface. Never. It just don't work. So with that and somebody like Mercedes, who has been fumbling around with her promos and such, there was not enough heat in this match. And then the match itself, it was like we couldn't keep up.
Yeah.
And this match sucked.
It was
the next match though was weird. This Jack Perry Jungle Boy match, for it to be a coffin match, like
him and Darby getting 10 minutes. There's real glass. That's funny, I guess. There's a callback.
I guess.
Whatever. I mean, they've done it a lot now. But yeah, sure. So he breaks out the glass. Like there's decent moments. It was way too fast. I don't understand what this did. And then, spoiler alert, pairing this with him coming out and wanting a world title shot and attacking Danielson. It's like Jack Perry's hot and like he's caught some fire on this heel shit after the Punk fiasco. But y'all really think a little bit too much of Jack Perry.
Yeah, I think Jack Perry's he's good. He's done really well with the scapegoat gimmick. Um, this coffin match was fast. It's kind of
Super
violent,
fast.
and then it just ended. And then it was like, oh, we're gonna light him on fire, and then Sting comes out, and I was like, that's cool. Um, but to go from that to Jack Perry getting a match with Danielson, which on one hand I'm like, well, Danielson's got to beat a few people, right?
No,
And
that's fair. And he needs a heel.
yeah, so that's fine, I guess. But
Isn't that what
yeah,
Christian Cage won for?
well,
Because he
again,
can take the L more so than Jungle Boy Jack Perry can take the L.
my biggest concern with the gauntlet match was don't say you can use it whenever you want. Tell me when you're going to use it.
Yeah.
Like the winner gets a title match at All Out. Like the winner gets a title match at Full Gear. Tell me. Don't leave it vague and up in the air. Don't do that. Just
Yeah.
tell me when you're going to do it.
Or have something physical, like a cash in.
Yeah, like, but you have to give me something tangible because I need something to look forward to. Right? Like that was that gauntlet match. I thought it was so good. It's almost like they could use that as their Royal Rumble type of thing.
Yeah, sure.
Right? And pin it to a pay-per-view, and it's like the winner of this faces the, who's the champion, all in. That's what they could do with this, but you got to give it stakes. So Jack Perry, yeah, of course he's gonna lose to Danielson, and it might be fun, but I guess you do it at All Out. I don't know, but we don't know when Christian Cage is gonna wrestle Danielson.
Yeah.
You know what's gonna happen.
We know neither of those guys are gonna retire Danielson.
No,
and
no,
I
no,
like
no.
the Osprey thing, but to me also, retiring Danielson probably should give someone heat more than like a handshake retirement.
So I'm glad you said that because if depending on how long this Danielson tour goes,
yes, and we could roll right into that match, by the way, because
yeah. So yeah. Anyway, yeah. Jack Perry wins. Try to set him on fire. Sting comes out, and that's it.
Yeah.
Main event. Everybody knows Danielson swerve. Danielson comes out to the final countdown. Bree, Birdie, the kids are in the front row. This match was perfect in the sense that they didn't even allow the interference from Hangman to determine the outcome of the match. It was just he got there, and it was like, oh, we'll keep that in mind so they can get back to this on Dynamite. But it didn't affect the match itself.
No, kept wrong.
Right? This is where Danielson differs from everybody in pro wrestling. This is what makes him different from Ospreay. The house call and Danielson reaching out to his kids. That's a spot.
Yeah.
Right? Like that's what Ospreay isn't able to do yet. He isn't able to bring that emotion out of fans. Like the man said, I love you to my kids as he's getting fucking massacred with house calls. Right? That Danielson, the way Danielson bleeds, the way Danielson sells, the way that Danielson, the near falls. Like I said it, there was no way that motherfucker was going to lose. There was no way. But he had
but they made
everybody
you
hanging
feel
on.
like
yo, because Swerve was murdering him in the end of the match.
Even when Danielson hit the knee and Swerve just ate it and no sold it.
Oh, that
into the house call. I was like, oh.
Yeah, again, I was like, oh, well, maybe they are going to do this. But like the way all right, I have to say this. I said on Twitter, and it went viral, that Swerve got to the top without conforming and took the culture with him. So many of you guys still fucking hate Swerve because I got quote tweeted to hell like he ain't one of us. No, he is. He don't like black women. He has kids with one. He's never like y'all gotta stop. The man made himself who he was. Like what I mean by the culture is he's taken every aspect of like hip hop culture and who he is, and he didn't have to change it to become champion.
No,
he didn't have to wipe it away to be accessible to the masses. Like he was Swerve.
Yeah, he's rapping on his own intro that everyone loves.
And Prince Nana dancing, like like the paradox of Nana dancing to Swerve's seriousness with the black eyes. Like Swerve was perfect. Swerve also knew how to play the heel in this match.
Yep.
He knew like Let me drop Danielson on his head on this fucking bell and watch how this crowd reacts. Right. And then no selling the knee. Like, it takes a special kind of talent because Danielson can get the pity and sympathy from the fans, but Swerve made you like, fuck, man, come on, Danielson. Yeah, I'm sitting at home like, yo, this is crazy because the crowd was on fire. We all wanted Danielson to win, but it's like, fuck, man, Swerve is like really good.
Yeah.
And then Swerve tapped, which, if you go back to our first interview with Swerve on this podcast, when I was like, yo, you gotta stop losing.
Yeah.
And Swerve was like, it's not a big deal, right? It's not a big deal. You got to show people that you'll put them over. He didn't have to tap. Baby faces don't tap. Even though he's been like a tweener, he's been a strong champion.
Yeah.
He tapped. He fucking tapped. And then final countdown plays. Confetti comes down. It's like, this is fucking amazing. Like, to me, I know MJF and Ospreay for a lot of people's match tonight. This is my match tonight because all the emotion wrapped up in it,
yeah,
and what Danielson manages to do each and every time out, he is, to me, bar none, one of the top 4 wrestlers I've ever seen. Like,
he's able to do it everywhere. And
he's not able to do it. He's done it everywhere now.
Yeah, everywhere.
Right? He's held a major title in every major promotion he's wrestled for.
Yep.
Like Ring of Honor, WWE, AEW. He didn't even want that AEW title, but fuck it, you're going to give it to him, right? He has proven beyond a shadow of the doubt that even when he fucking broke his neck and his career was supposed to be over, he still had a lot left in the tank.
Yep.
And there, like, people will say Austin, Rock, Hogan, then none of them did as long as Danielson. None of them could wrestle as good as Danielson.
No, he's on his second stint, like HBK was on his second stint.
Yeah.
Where you look and you be like, except his first stint is better than HBK's first stint. Yeah. So the second stint is HBK, like when you had the Angle match, you had the Jericho match, you had the 2 Taker matches.
Actually, this is Danielson's third stint. Because if you watch Danielson in Ring of Honor, the pure champion, ROH champion, Knives with Guinness, because
it's more like he is now.
Yeah, like the second stint started off poorly. He got fired from NXT.
Yeah.
Right? They put him with The Miz. I'll never forget this shit. Because I was watching Danielson ROH and I was like, holy shit, they signed him. And then they did NXT Mentor, The Miz. And I was like, you fucking trolling me right now? No disrespect to The Miz, but it was like, you're going to put a guy who's on a reality show with one of the best pure wrestlers on the planet. Remember, this guy was winning the PWI Wrestler of the Year like every fucking year.
Yeah. Like, it just wasn't a great pairing.
It was awful, but then they would say...
It turns out that it ended up being the greatest pair.
It was great, but you got to remember, like, Danielson comes in, he was small.
Yep.
Vince didn't like him. He was a B-plus player. He won the title after winning Money in the Bank. Then he got nerfed by Sheamus in like 8 seconds.
Bro kick to hell.
And he bounced back from that. Not only that, he put over Kofi Kingston at WrestleMania. It was his fucking idea. Right? The man had tread left on the tires. It was like, I don't feel like doing this anymore. And left and joined AEW. And people's like, why is he going to go do that? Now look at him.
Why not?
Dude, Bret Hart, Shawn Michaels, when you talk about pure wrestlers and they've done it for a long time, Bret, Shawn, Danielson, I don't know
who 4 is right
now. 4 could be
Jericho's really fucking with me.
4 might be Flair. 4 might be Flair.
Yeah, that's fair.
4 might be Flair in terms of like wrestling.
He could also go. Yeah. Flair would be.
Like, I love The Rock, but Rock, he can't touch the wrestling.
No,
like Austin after he broke his neck was never the same. But Austin one of the greatest characters. Hogan could never wrestle.
No.
Jericho, he's kind of like Jericho's doing the opposite. Of what Danielson's doing.
He's
like,
Roy Jones in me right now.
Yes.
Breaking my heart, Jericho. Cena's in the conversation.
Cena falls on that different Mount Rushmore. The Mount Rushmore that has Austin and Rocky.
Yeah, but he flirted with the other one. Like, towards the end, when Cena was like, fuck it, I kind of want to show people I know how to wrestle.
I mean,
It got real dope towards the end.
it did, but again, it's like he was never those guys.
No,
Well,
but when you look like him and Punk in ring wasn't bad.
no, it
Like
wasn't. No, I'm not saying.
him,
I'm not
him and
saying it.
Styles was like he got
Look,
some
look.
joints.
Rock and
But
Austin both they had joints too, but it was personality over pro wrestling for those
yeah,
guys,
yeah,
right?
yeah, that's fine.
Like it's a different Mount Rushmore.
Yeah.
Like you know who else can belong in that other Mount Rushmore? AJ Styles.
Yes. AJ
Like
is in that realm.
AJ, like AJ, we'll talk more about him when
AJ
it gets closer to the
Okada
end of the
was
road.
current.
Okada's really current, but I'm saying AJ from TNA NWA, he did Ring of
Yeah.
Honor. So he came to WWE and people was, and even I was like, I don't know how this is gonna work out. The
Held
motherfucker can't,
everything.
dude. Like he if it wasn't for him, we wouldn't have had that version of Cena.
Yeah. No, 100%. That it yeah, it capped off that version of Cena because the US title challenge started it, obviously generic with
No. Styles came before the US title challenge.
did it him Cena?
Yes. Yes, that was for the main title.
It was for the
F-
main title. Oh, I thought that was
no,
after.
the US title challenge was after all of this.
Oh, so yeah. So he
Yeah,
he
like
jump started it then, because then we get Owens, then we get Zayn, then we get Cesaro
all that
match,
shit.
then we get and then he just decided he wanted to fucking wrestle all these indie gems. No, yeah, Styles has to be up there, and then your boy Samoa Joe
Yeah,
is
you know I
is in
love
the
Samoa Joe.
fringe. Yeah,
Yeah, like
he's in
same with
the fringe of it.
like Punk is in the in between spot
He took too
because
much time off.
he did take 10 years off, but he changed the pro wrestling, right? Like
Fair.
he
I
changed it. He's not as
not
good
it's
as
not a hot
Danielson.
take, no, but he's not them in ring. And
No, he's
the
not.
legend of CM Punk far precedes the in-ring wrestler of CM Punk. Now, I'm not calling him The Rock or something like he can't wrestle. But he's just not them. Bell to
That's why I
bell,
said
he's not them. Yeah,
that's why I said he falls in between, right? Like
yeah. He's
because
playing hopscotch with it.
he was the independent wrestler that came with personality, right? Like he
Yes.
was the indie guy that people was like, oh shit, he can fucking cut a promo.
Yeah.
Because most indie guys would just they could just wrestle.
Yeah.
Punk came along and was like, my God, this guy is like the best promo in the business
Yeah.
in an independent company.
Everyone's like, if he was just a little bigger, he'd be WWE's dream.
Yeah. Then WWE got him, and then it was like, oh shit. Because
ECW got him. But yeah,
well,
and then, but yes, I get what you're saying.
yes, true. But when he did the Straight Edge Society angle and he feuded with like Jeff Hardy,
Yeah. No,
and it
those are
was
great.
like that's when you realize like, oh, this little indie guy, he's fucking great. That's why he falls in mill. Anyway,
One of my favorite Royal Rumble moments, by the way, ever, is him just eliminating people and cutting straight edge society promos in between.
So good. But now we got to figure out like, all right, Danielson's on the retirement tour. The people he's about to work with before it's all said and done, because they're all lining up.
Yeah.
Everybody's like, I got to work Danielson. Nigel McGuinness has to work him.
Yep.
Christian obviously is going to work him. Ospreay has to get at him again.
Mm-hmm.
You figure Swerve will get a rematch, maybe at Wrestle Dream in Seattle.
Maybe that'd be dope.
Because it's both their hometowns.
Hangman might cost him there, like legit cost him.
Right. Like that might be the thing. Then you have to go back to Okada at some point. Like you feel like you have to. I don't know if you
like heel Okada should be the one to take it off of.
I mean, it could be fucking Kenny Omega if we're keeping it a buck.
It could be, but I think Kenny comes back as a super baby face, golden lovers. Like
what the fuck happened to Kota Ibushi?
He's waiting for Kenny to come back. There was a report like last week.
He's a fucking weird guy.
No, but he was injured as fuck too. So
I know.
like,
I'm just saying, he's such a weird guy.
But they're gonna come back together, I guess, on some golden lovers against the elite type shit.
But the one name I didn't mention, and could be, he don't need it, but he's gonna wrestle him.
He always needs it. MJ, yeah, he always needs it. Like, I would argue Okada needs it more to establish Okada, especially heel Okada, as who he should be to the American audience. Because even right now, even though he's a heel with the elite, he's still like dancing with like Mercedes Moné, and he's funny and all this.
Hilarious.
Yeah, but
he's
like
nuts.
That's not the Okada we know.
No.
You know, like he's biding time, which I love. Like the character's hilarious, but he didn't come here for that. So to like flip the switch on Hilo
Yeah,
Okada, I think he needs it the most. But I'm never going to argue not giving that opportunity to MJF because we'll never hear the end of it. So
bro.
it's something that'll feed AW families for a decade.
Yes, we'll see. But I thought this pay per view was great outside the Mercedes match and Jericho's match. Um, and and every time AEW does pay per views, unlike anybody else, this is New Japan on fucking steroids. They
Yeah.
just they don't mail it in ever. They like deliver. It didn't feel too long, but so before we got like 20 minutes before I gotta go pick up my daughter. Let's talk Bash at Berlin.
This is weird, right? Because shorter card, they have more time to wrestle. But we're on a 3 pay-per-view streak, if I remember correctly, of pretty much post-mania of Trips kind of saying, fuck the 5-star class. Like, this isn't NXT Triple H booking.
No, no,
He's very story driven.
yes.
Like, even in Gunther matches right now, story all the way. So when I look at this card, like Gunther versus Randy Orton, uh, it's weird because there's stipulation now. If Orton wins the championship, um, he becomes Raw champion and Gunther has to go to SmackDown. Which it's like that's a weird stipulation because does that mean like they're trying to set him up to take the belt off of Cody and
No, I
give
mean,
Randy a run? Or does Randy go back to SmackDown? I'm just
bro,
confused by that stipulation.
there's no way Randy Orton's being Gunther. Let's just do that, right? Let's start there.
No.
Randy's not beating Gunther, and Randy will probably go back to SmackDown after this,
I
right?
need Randy versus Cody at some point.
We do, right? Like that is the match that needs to happen. Like while we
Probably the
all look
Rumble feud.
while we all love Randy Orton, this current iteration of Randy Orton is probably the most clear-headed version of Randy Orton we've ever seen,
Yeah,
right? Where he's just really enjoying what he's doing. Heel Randy Orton is the best version of Randy Orton.
100%. But this is the best babyface run.
Yeah. The day that he punt kicks Cody in the fucking head, that's it. We're
Yeah,
off to the races.
it's
In
on.
my, in my mind, it either happens at the Rumble or it happens at Mania, depending on how all the other parts move, right? Because Cody kind of needs this feud with Randy sooner than later. Because I don't want to say he's dying on the vine as champion, but I've always said it. Once he became champ, where do you go from here? And he's
Yeah.
wrestling Kevin Owens, which is great. Those two baby faces working each other. It's not the main event.
No, and Kevin Kevin's teasing
We
that we're gonna get the old Kevin.
we all know like what Kevin Owens can do, right? But for Cody, since becoming champion, even like the Solo Sokoa match, nothing felt even remotely close to him trying to get back into the title picture, right? So he needs a feud. He like Kevin Owens this is I don't see this being a feud.
It could if Kevin becomes sinister Kevin, like loses clean, and then he's like, blah, blah, okay, cool, goes for the handshake, and then goes to like the Kevin we know. This would be one hell of a feud.
It could be. Um, there's just so much story with Randy and Cody.
Yeah.
That's why I'm like, Royal Rumble probably before that, or like maybe you do
Kevin
it
could go for 3 months
it could.
and then go
It
for
could.
Randy right after.
It could, like we'll see. Anyway, I don't see Gunther losing to Randy. I actually see Randy going into this match and saying, Gunther, let's try to get 5 stars. That's what I think when
Like he
Randy's
just
head. Yeah, he's like, let's fucking wrestle.
yeah,
Chop the shit out of me, right? Like
yeah.
they sing
Randy's
my
like,
song now. Like, come on, like
fuck it, let's
go.
do it.
Yeah, because Bash at Berlin is it's a PLE pay per view, whatever the fuck, but also feels like one of them glorified house show type in your
Yeah.
house type of pay per views, where it's
Yeah.
just like let's just fucking do shit,
Yeah.
right? And Randy's just chopped the fuck out of me.
That's it.
Like,
Let's get weird. Like,
yeah,
let me act like it's 2003 again. Let's
it's
just
like
go.
I ain't here to win. I'm just here to fucking have some fun. So I think that's what that match is going to end up being. Yeah,
I agree
Gunther's.
now. Yeah, you talking to me like I think so. Randy's like, fuck it, I got one of these in me.
Yeah, let's
Let's
just fucking
go.
go. It's like I ain't never wrestled your ass before. I've never really felt those chops like that. I want to see what that shit is like. Like
Yeah.
Randy's like living life as a wrestler right now. He's going to enjoy this match. And he's going to lose, and he's going to be happy because now, which is crazy. I don't know what happened. All of a sudden, people were like, "Thought I hear voices in my head song. We should sing it." It only took like fucking 14 years for him to do it.
2 decades.
But now everybody sings it, and Randy's like, "This is kind of cool, right?" Like he's enjoying the moment. He's gonna enjoy this match, but he's gonna get fucking nerfed.
Yeah. My only thing is like when they put anyone close to home, it's kind of one of those things where they kind of lose. But
Nah,
Gunther just
I
got
think
it though, so not. So Gunther wins that. Cody versus KO. We can go over next.
Cody ain't losing.
No, Cody's not losing. But
Is
I
it
think
this?
KO beats the shit out of him after.
Is it disappointing if Kevin doesn't turn on Cody here? Are you disappointed?
I'm I'm not overly disappointed. I would love that. That's like my plan A. But I can also see them building towards Survivor Series. And again, everything is very story based. And there's a lot of these bloodline motherfuckers now. So Roman and the Usos aren't enough bodies
Yep.
to put into uh into the War Games match.
Yeah, this you just asked Sammy.
Yeah. So you could do four, but I mean you could really build this shit out if you wanted to and go like six deep. Um, if you wanted to with Cody and Kevin, but I'd rather them stay away from me. Give
Yeah,
me Cody and Kevin. But yeah, so Kevin to me has to turn. But they've kept Cody around the bloodline a little bit. And I think they may be tempted to see like, can they coexist if Roman needs Cody's help? So I could also see that shit happening in the bloodline, interfering in this match and them trying to force those two into the bloodline story. But I hope they stay away because only thing you need is Sammy, Jay, Jimmy, and the tribal. They need the original bloodline.
they do.
And that to me gets the biggest pop without Cody, without Kevin. Let them do their thing. It's been a while since Kevin, you fucking took the training wheels off of Kevin and let him go. Do it.
They could. It's strange. Like the bloodline's not booked on this card at all, right? It's almost. I don't I don't know how slow they're gonna slow play this, but you could tell they're slow playing. It's always weird. I think they've run into like this problem with the bloodline story. I think they're realizing it. Solo isn't the guy that we thought he was.
No.
And it's not even Solo's fault.
Jacob is that guy.
Yeah, like it's Solo showed up and he was like, "Oh, he's intimidating," and then he started talking and it was like he's not intimidating anymore, right? Yes, Jacob Fatu is that guy.
Yeah.
The problem though is Roman's beating them up too easily already by himself.
Oh, they just beat the hell out of Roman.
I know, but that's it. But
They
Roman
triple
should,
power bombed him through the table.
but they like Roman shouldn't get the upper hand ever right now.
He's still the
That's
tribal chief.
I don't care. There's four of them, right? Like he's speared everybody.
Yeah.
He Superman punched everybody.
Fatu excluded, I think.
But Fatu's not your leader.
No.
So if Roman's just making mincemeat out of Tangaloa, Tamatanga, and Solo and not Jacob Fatu, it doesn't feel like bring on the cavalry. Roman needs help. It doesn't feel like that yet.
Yep.
Right? The final boss has to come back at some point. I don't know when that's going to be, but The Rock has to come back and really drive the stake home. Was like, no, you're out of here, Roman. Like that's what they have to get to. But I feel like they're looking at this like, well, if we do it every week, it's going to lose its steam because there isn't a Sami Zayn that from week to week can keep this thing going.
Yeah.
Jay and Jimmy, like, I love Tama and Tangaloa. Like, I know them personally. They ain't Jay and Jimmy when it comes to chemistry, promo abilities. They're not that. Their personalities aren't there yet. So on weekly television, and the biggest piece you're missing is Paul Heyman. It is hard to keep this group interesting from a promo standpoint.
Yeah.
Like, so they have to slow play it where it's like, don't put them on Bash at Berlin.
Yep.
Right? Let's slow play this. The only time have them do some promo segments. All right, they got the tag titles. Maybe they'll work some teams, but They're like, dude, the over OG bloodline, tons of backstage segments. Heyman,
Oh,
Sammy, Jimmy,
as they
Jay,
start
Roman.
putting them back together, though, they'll do the lifting. So as
But that's the problem.
so
But
in
here,
2 weeks from now, Heyman comes back. Cool. 2 weeks after that,
they gotta
Jimmy
slow.
comes
They
back.
gotta slow play it more. But
No, you just got to get to November.
this is my point.
You got 8 weeks.
This is my point though. When that OG bloodline gets, they're gonna dwarf the new version of the bloodline.
100%.
That's not good.
You got 8 weeks to do it, and you
I,
got to
I'm just
recruit four
again.
members.
I'm
Two a
just
week.
saying. I'm saying if the OG bloodline gets back together, in terms of star power, in terms of believability, nobody thinks the OJ bloodline is gonna lose to them. Not right now.
But you know why they're going to lose. Because there's one man who has more star power than all of them.
Well, yeah, if the Rock, if the final boss comes back at War
You
Games,
already
yes.
know.
But you have 8 weeks to do it. We'll see how they get there.
Two a week. Like, if I'm them, that's all I'm thinking. Two a week, and we're defending the tag team titles on a pay-per-view, and interference gets the rest of them there, so they keep the belts. But that's the only thing being defended. I don't need Solo to get an independent title. I don't need even Jacob to get an independent title in the meantime. The tag team titles will carry us for the pay-per-view defense. And we're every 2 weeks, we're adding an OG back to it. Because like you said, when they all form like the Avengers, it dwarfs that whole group.
Yeah, we'll see. I'm not confident on how this is going yet. Terror Twins and Judgment Day.
I just like that the Terror Twins have a name.
Yeah, I do too. It also makes me think this is one of those matches. I'm like, how the fuck are you gonna beat Rhea and Damian Priest with Dominic and Liv, right?
The numbers game.
The numbers game. Judgment Day has to win.
Yeah, Finn Balor is gonna nerf Damian Priest. That is the feud going forward.
Yes, I need Finn Balor to nerf Damian Priest and bring the demon back along the way.
Oh, please. Look,
like,
don't even advertise, just be badass.
Just do it.
But when that singles match hits and the fucking lights go,
just do it.
Everyone is losing their shit. Everyone. If it's at the Rumble or Survivor Series, as soon as those fucking lights hit, oh my God.
Finn needs to be the leader of this group, and the demon will put him over because Finn is kind of 50-50 booked himself into a lot of matches. Like he hasn't been outstanding, like dominant in any shape, form, or fashion. So we need the demon. Yeah. We need the demon. But yeah, the Terror Twins, they have to lose because of this. They have
of course. Yeah, they don't need it. And then Punk versus Unholy Union, tag team champions versus Bianca and Jade. I really like the Unholy Union. Honestly,
I do too.
As a tag team, like they're a good fucking tag team. And it seems too early to break up Bianca and Jade. We complained about Jade, and how they're booking it. They've recaptured the momentum.
They did.
So you can't break them up. Like they just got hot again with Naomi there. Like that adds like a nice little spark. They just got dope again.
Yep.
So I think they got to get the belts back.
It sucks because
it does.
I think the Unholy Union is a really good tag team, and I really would like them to hold the titles for a long time. I don't even want Bianca and Jade to get the titles back, right? I prefer that they just be a crew that does tag matches from time to time, while the Unholy Union moves on and wrestles like other tag teams.
Yeah.
But to your point, Jade looked fucking great last week on SmackDown, and
hot tag Jade.
She's a great hot tag. She still has to work from under, but she's a fucking tremendous hot. Like as soon as she shows up, if you give her the hot tag, she's nerfing people, and it looks good. I don't want them to get the tag titles back, but I think that they are. I think
you can't book your way out of this one.
No, this is tough. Like you put it on them, you put it on Alba because you kind of needed to reset Bianca and Jade because, again, as I said when they first teamed, who the fuck are going to beat these two?
Yeah.
Like you look at them and like, there's no way. Then they lost, but then I'm like, I don't want them to get the titles back.
Yeah,
because then you're back in the same spot again. Like who's going to beat them after that? Yeah,
I don't know, and I mean, I feel like the other factions on the other side, right? The the women.
Which women?
The I don't know their names as a faction. The three
Oh,
women.
Shayna Baszler and
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
mm,
I don't know.
I know all the names that they were called, but that
Yes,
ain't the right
someone
name.
called them the Judgment Gay, and it was the best shit too. Like again, there's there's a plethora of good ones going
Yeah.
out there. Um, but I feel like that could be a feud because Naomi's here. That's like a good 3-on-3 feud.
Yeah, but you got to move them.
Not if you have the women's tag team titles.
Well, that's true. That's true.
You can go
I guess
wherever
you
you
can go that
want
route.
for the
But then,
smoke,
but
right?
then
Like,
we like, how do you free bird rule it with Naomi? Because she's got to come too. You can't leave her back on SmackDown by
no,
herself.
yeah, no, Naomi's coming too.
You got a
Yeah.
free bird rule.
And maybe that's how you eventually lose the belts.
Maybe.
Is if you free bird it with Naomi, she can always take the pin on
Yep,
some
that's
like,
true.
yo, Jade tries something, give her a kayfabe fucking injury in a boot, and Naomi got to go in for that match, and then Naomi gets pinned.
I also
Like in
wonder.
November.
I also wonder how long is Asuka out? Because Kyrie, Io, and Asuka, that's a formidable trio.
She's out for a second.
She is. She is. And I wonder if they're just kind of like not waiting, but when those three get back to, because that
Io's still
version,
been killing it on Raw.
she has, but it's like when you put them together, and if you were to put them against them,
Yeah.
they tried to do a WrestleMania, it wasn't the same. But if you put Io, Asuka, and Kyrie against Jade, Bianca, and Naomi, that's
Great
great.
match. Great
We
match.
just we got to figure out how we're gonna get there because Asuka's out for a minute.
Yeah,
So
that's definitely something. If you're penciling in Royal Rumble,
yeah,
that's like a really dope Royal Rumble match.
it is.
And it doesn't really take them out of being in the Royal Rumble.
No, not at all. So they could do that. Strap match. CM Punk, Drew McIntyre. CM Punk hiding under the ring, going on
IG Live. What an
Hey
asshole
man,
move. He's great.
that was great.
We'll see. You mentioned the match earlier, him versus MJF,
Yep, the dog collar match.
the dog collar match. This unfairly has to live up to that.
It won't.
Because them getting Seth out of here, Seth needed surgery, so get better, healthy, is the best shit that could happen. This is supposed to be a blood feud. This is the match they chose. This is stipulation they chose. It has to be that good.
It won't be.
Drew can go, like, why? There's no reason it shouldn't be.
They won't have the level of violence that MJF and Punk had.
I don't know.
They won't.
I can't guarantee that.
They're not going to bleed. They're not going to hang them like that. It's still a kid show.
They're not going to hang them.
Like they're not going to go that far. Drew and Punk is going to be good.
Maybe they will. I don't know. This shit's going to Netflix soon. I don't know.
Go back and watch Punk and MJF. That shit was hyper violent. Like those two were bleeding pints of blood. They will not be bleeding like that in Berlin. They won't. But it'll be a good match. It just won't be. You can't put the bar there, right? And then strap matches are also weird because you got to drag the other person around, tap all four corners, which I still think is a dumb rule. Like I was like, this is dumb, but whatever.
It worked great for the Fiend and Daniel Bryan.
It did.
It's one of my favorite strap matches. The best Fiend match by far.
This feud isn't over, so Punk has to win.
I agree. There has to be some sort of big payoff where Drew's not just going to go away.
No.
Like
they will probably
makes no
end
sense.
up in war games. Like they will probably not even in war games. Maybe a cage match or some shit.
Yeah, something dastardly.
There is. I feel like this match, Punk is going to win by accident. Strap matches are built for this, right? Like you drive the person around, he bumps you, you tag the corner, and it's like, I won, but it's like you didn't really win. Drew. I feel like we're due for one of those, and if that's how, and if that's how Punk wins, Drew's even more mad, right? And he still has the fucking dog bracelet. He don't give a fuck. He beats shit out of Punk and he leaves to another match. But Punk is gonna win. I just don't think Punk's gonna win in any kind of dominant fashion. He's going to win by accident. That's the best way to keep this thing going. Because then Drew can be like, you ain't even better than me, you bitch. I helped you win. What does that shit look like? Let's do it again.
Yeah, I'm in no rush for this stat. No. It's exactly what I was asking AEW to do. Just drag this shit on 3-4 pay-per-views. Tell the story. And there's more there. Again, I thought the Seth one was kind of a placeholder that was irrelevant. So I'm just taking this as like the real second. like, or
Yeah.
the real feud start right here. So yeah, I can't wait to see what happens. I think Punk wins as well. We'll be back next week. Next week, technically, it's probably our last show. We'll figure this out. Gonna hit up producer Cole, baby, see what the hell he's doing in New Jersey. Get the gang back together. So that would be really fun. Again, shout out to everyone who reached out. Thank you, thank you, thank you. We appreciate you all. You guys are the best. This has been one hell of an episode as well. For now, though, till next week, we're out.
Peace.